This is my storytelling speech, and it's about a snowboarding trip with 3 of my friends. Alright, snowboarding is one of my favorite sports, but it also happens to be a very dangerous one. When snowboarding, you should only attempt tricks within your skill range, and only when the conditions are right. When you try a trick you're not ready for, it is far more likely that you will get hurt. I've tested this theory many times. The results are almost never positive. One snowy day, I was at Afton Alps ski area with 2 of my friends, David and Travis. The snow on the hills was very lumpy and had not been groomed because there had been so much snowfall during the time that the ski area had been open that they couldn't groom the trails because there were skiers on many of the runs. The light and fluffy snow was not particularly hard to maneuver in at the beginning of the day, but as the day went on, conditions became more unmanageable. After spending nearly 3 hours in easy and intermediate runs practicing our spins and jibs on small jumps and bumps, Travis, David, and I decided to go to the terrain park and test our true skill on a snowboard. The terrain park consisted of 3 different areas: rails, boxes, and large jumps. Looking from the top of the terrain park, to the far left were the rails, down the middle were the boxes, and down the right side of the runs were 3 jumps that progressively increased in size. And only 5 yards to the right of that was a tow rope coming up the side of the hill. Once we had observed all the different obstacles and checked all of our landings, we decided to hit the jumps first. The smallest jump was the most fun that day because it was hard to get enough speed to do the larger 2. After doing our basic spins and grabs in aerial form, we moved to the boxes where our spins would need to be done while sliding on top of the box, and our grabs would still have to be done in the air, only they would have to be done before or after being on the box. Boxes were a lot of fun that day because the large amount of snow did not affect you, because you can only approach a box at low to average speeds. At this time I was ready for the rails, or so I thought. The first obstacle was a rainbow rail. This is a rail that starts on the ground and arches up about 5 feet and goes back down to the ground like a rainbow. I approached this rail at a fair rate, but unfortunately I misjudged the angle a little bit. To go straight over the rail, so I made it about a third of the way up, and then my board shot out from under me, and I landed on the top of the arch on the right side of my body, right about this area. I then rolled off the rail. Lying on the ground in searing pain, I called for David to go get a ski patrolman. After only what seemed to be 3 days, a patrolman came to get me on a snowmobile and took me back to the chalet's first aid center, where this person, claiming to be a nurse, told me I had 3 broken ribs. These assumptions were confirmed later that night in the urgent care unit at Unity Hospital, where they told me there was nothing they could do for me to help them heal except for time. Till this day, my ribs not fully recovered over 3 years later. was all because I wasn't being careful enough one snowy night at